after the release of Nevermind in the fall of 1991, Nirvana left for a short solo tour of Europe. While they were overseas, the band got word that the album was ripping up the charts and saturating the nation.
We just got reports every once in a while, hey, you guys are on the top 40. We didn't even believe people for a long time, We thought everyone was pulling our legs. It just came on, it was like the Beatles, It's like Nirvana mania.
No one was prepared for the ride when Nevermind broke. The industry wasn't, the media wasn't, the label wasn't, and the band wasn't.
By January, Nevermind had shattered all expectations, ousting Michael Jackson's Dangerous from the #1 slot on the pop charts.
It came on MTV News that Nevermind had knocked out Michael Jackson, and we just, looked at each other in amazement. I mean, our friends, these guys that we know, knocked off the king of pop. It was great.
They had hit a nerve of American youth culture, and it just smelled like Teen Spirit everywhere.
Nevermind had single-handedly transformed pop music.
There was just a feeling in the air, there was just this new thing happening, and we knew that we were a part of it.
It was one of those rare, perfect moments in rock and roll where everything was it seemed right with the world for a change.
Hair metal and dance pop were out. The anti-rock star revolution had begun.
In the 80s, it was all about glitz and glamour and rock stardom and just moving farther and farther away from reality.
People in their 20s had been ignored for so long, and here was a record that made them feel kind of included in this big club of outcasts. Now, this record that kind of feels like you is really popular.
Nirvana did what no punk band had been able to. They brought alternative music to the mainstream.
Nobody really had any kind of history of succeeding with alternative rock until after Nevermind, so that's a real demarcation point.
Suddenly it's this sort of mass cultural idea, and it's who are these people? Where do they come from?
Amidst the chaos of Nirvana's success, Kurt Cobain married Courtney Love, controversial lead singer of the band Hole, in February 1992. But Love was already beginning to alienate Cobain's closest friends.
People like Courtney Love latched on, and then we were kind of out of the picture. She didn't like me from the get-go, so it didn't surprise me, that I was pushed to the background.
Making matters worse was Cobain's growing addiction to heroin. He was using almost every day, and it was visibly affecting his life.
There were some other things that happened during Nevermind where he did, nod out in some interviews and whatnot. That's when I think they stopped doing so many interviews and giving so much access to him.
The success of Nevermind overshadowed the release of another landmark grunge album, Pearl Jam's 10. The band was formed in the wake of Mother Love Bone singer Andy Wood's death in 1990, when Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament met San Diego songwriter Eddie Vedder. Before long, Pearl Jam was recording and performing together.
It was a very ballsy maneuver to not follow and continue Mother Love Bone, but find something that's unique and the next step.
Quiet, almost shy off stage, Vedder channeled a furious energy into his performances.
It was fun to watch Eddie crawl over the place and get up in the lights and everything. Very entertaining. And they have that thing again that makes a band special.
Songs like Alive and Jeremy built on Nirvana's themes of alienation. But Pearl Jam's quick rise was met with some resentment.
There was so much suspicion and so much heat that came down on Pearl Jam for being fake grunge and for being the ones who could cash in on the success of Nirvana, who really worked their way up and worked for it.
With him on top, lemon yellow sun, arms raised in a feet.
By the end of 1992, Nevermind and 10 had both gone multi-platinum. It was only the beginning.
Nirvana broke it open to everybody and stopped whatever else was going on dead in its tracks, That's when it really got out of control.
Everyone was doing okay. Nirvana was doing great. Pearl Jam ended up doing great. At the time, it seemed really easy to handle.
I feel so alone, gonna end up
grunge quickly spread to Hollywood. Filmmaker Cameron Crowe released Singles, a love story set in Seattle's music scene.
I just felt, wouldn't it be great if music played the role in the movie the way it really does play, living in Seattle and going out.
As the grunge sound took over, Seattle bands were forced to come to terms with their own sudden success.
There's one thing you have to remember about Nirvana is Nirvana didn't go to the mainstream. The mainstream came to Nirvana.
I guess that was the impression in the press, that none of these groups wanted to be famous, but I don't really buy it. For us, the bottom line was that we worked a long time to get success.
By the end of 1992, the hype was out of control. Everything associated with grunge became ripe for mass consumption.
I remember seeing like some catalog, and it was like the grunge look. Like, check this out, this is insane. Wow, like it's like $80 for like a flannel shirt that you get at like Chubby and Tubby's for like $5.
I think after Nirvana broke, most of the people were consciously trying to avoid wearing flannel, which is kind of unnatural. It's like consciously trying not to wear pants.
While Alice in Chains' album Dirt and Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger snaked up the charts, bands that had absolutely nothing to do with the scene were slapped with the Seattle seal of approval.
It was very frustrating because everything was sort of lumped together, and there was a lot of diversity in the alternative community, but it was all just sort of given this one word. And no matter what you did, it was grunge.
People got so tired of grunge after it had become a media buzzword.
People didn't want to be associated with the term grunge because it was a label, it was a handle, it was a minimizing of their individuality.
All eyes were on Seattle, and the media was becoming increasingly invasive.
The media wanted to explore every aspect of it. And you know what? It was rock and roll. There weren't that many aspects.
There's that famous story of Megan, who used to work at Sub Pop.
This kid calls up, and he's like, hi, I'm doing, this piece in the style section of the New York Times, and we'd love to include a lexicon of grunge.
That was a stroke of genius right off the bat. I gotta say, I gotta hand it to her. The lexicon of grunge.
So he's shooting out phrases or words like, what's up? How's it going? And I'm giving him these totally ridiculous things, and rather than him saying, get out, that's not true, what I hear is, he's so busy typing in these moronic sayings that he doesn't question anything that I'm saying back to him. Who ever would say, catch you on the flippity fling flong, rock and roll, but the New York Times, they were psyched, man, because that was grunge code for buy.
Of course, they printed that verbatim as being, what the kids are speaking these days, so that was just a total masterstroke right there.
When I saw Kurt Cobain getting kissed by Courtney Love on the cover of Sassy magazine is when I knew it had gone way too far.
I think my exact words were, hold on, fellas, the roller coaster ride is about to begin.
Love and Cobain found themselves in the media's crosshairs when a Vanity Fair article claimed Love used heroin during her pregnancy.
Vanity Fair handled it, maybe the way Spin, Rolling Stone, a lot of magazines handled it. We should have stayed out of the business of their child. I know people want to know if Courtney was doing drugs while she was carrying Frances Bean. It's not really something we need to know, and it just does damage.
If they want to remember us as the parents who supposedly gave their baby drugs, fine. If that's all they want to think about us, then they can. They aren't music fans anyhow.
We all got so caught up in it. But that's what happens. They became celebrities, and we, quote-unquote, needed to know.